Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn clip show, more like shit show.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me, as always, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how's it going?
I'm great. I have met and been won over by the charisma, talent, and joie de vivre of Wally Brando.
Tell us a little bit about this, Paul. I've been seeing your Facebook post about this.
Wally Brando is Michael Cera's character on the new Twin Peaks series.
Oh, I've only watched the first episode, so I haven't gotten to him yet.
Can we stop for just a moment? How did you get through an episode of this horrendous,
Oh no!
slow-moving, not resembling the first season of Twin Peaks in any way, shape, or form? It is horrendous.
Paul, my wife Carrie would agree with you, and she is a big Twin Peaks fan.
So she likes it or she doesn't like it?
She doesn't like it. She agrees with Corey. It's like this. I can't get into this. Like she loves Twin Peaks.
Unrecognizable. It is so slow moving. It's almost daring me to turn it off, and they won.
You know what? I think that it has a lot more tonally going on that echoes Twin Peaks Firewalk with me than it does the actual.
Yes, as well.
Well, then that's the thing. See, I kind of like the movie better than most of the show.
Wow.
I only think the first season of Twin Peaks was brilliant.
I agree.
Other than that, I hate every instance of it.
I kind of am with you on this, Corey.
No.
Like I like the first season, and then it annoys me. And this episode was reminding me, it's so slow moving, yet it wants you to think something is coming. The twist is coming, and it just never happens.
See, I like it. It's I like Chekhov plays. I like really slow David Lynch movies. Like, have you guys ever watched Inland Empire, that film, that his last movie that he made?
No.
It's 3 hours long, and not 1 second of it makes sense.
So
I've seen it twice now, and to own it on DVD. So
this for the man who also loves, Metal Machine music from Lou Reed.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, yeah, I get it. If you like the original one, the tone of this is so different. Then yeah, you might not dig it. But if you like David Lynch, it might not be as big of a. Or if you like when he gets really weird, it might not be as big of a problem.
It was totally, for me, the pace. It was so self-indulgent on his part that it was like, hey, fuck you. I got more important things to do with my life.
Yeah. So listeners, if you're wondering why we're talking about Twin Peaks instead of Family Ties today, you'll actually be thanking us, because I'd rather watch the rest of Twin Peaks than this episode. I know we've said this a lot, but first off, let's preface this by saying this is a clip episode. It is a two-parter clip episode following a two-parter episode, and before that there was a two-part episode.
And we have a two-part episode coming up.
And another one after this? Oh, dear God.
My name is Alex is coming up.
Okay, that I'm excited about. That I'm looking forward to. This is the first time I can say on season 5 I'm looking forward to an episode.
Yeah.
The laziness of the writers. I know I've said this before, and this episode totally keyed it in for me. When NBC asked them to write more episodes, the writers panicked, and Gary David Goldberg said, I got tricks up my sleeve. We'll have 30 episodes, and you guys won't work one bit harder.
Oh my God.
That's what they did. They split single episodes into double episodes. They took a show and they turned a clip show into a double episode. So they found the laziest ways possible. Because what's amazing about this two-part clip show is it's 80% stuff we've seen before. And even the 20% that's brand spanking new is the laziest,
It's so
most
bad.
horrible shit they have ever produced. They may have filmed this in an afternoon. They may have gotten 2
easy.
shots in an afternoon because it's a talking head show. They're sitting and talking the whole show. There's no staging.
No. Well, and here's what's funny, Corey. We talked about this our last 2-part clip show, is that the writers don't even understand what a clip is. It's pretty much condensing 3 episodes to fit this one episode. Like, it's not like one little scene. It's like the 3 main scenes from one episode.
They try to, it's like the Reader's Digest condensed version of an episode of Family Ties. They tie it all together and they shove it into this clip show. And then the clips, they think that they've put together clips that tangentially connect to each other under the title Battle of the Sexes. And yet it's the broadest battle of the sexes. It starts with sort of a battle of the sexes, and then the scenes just become, let's do Elise's commercial.
Right.
Played for Princeton.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's nothing.
And I've been hanging back because I wanted to, I was thinking about the one thing that pissed me off most about this episode is that we talked about in the last clip show how they just took the better part of an entire episode, truncated it, and then made that one clip. And then they did that a few times and then rolled credits. Yeah. And we were like, who does this? And we talked about on Seinfeld how, you know, that the penultimate episode of Seinfeld was an hour-long clip show, and it was really well done. You know, it like the way that they did the montages of everything and put it to music and stuff like that.
Right.
And at the end of this hour-long clip show, where they just take 80 minutes, or I'm sorry, 80% of an episode, truncate it and put it out there, and then do it again, and then do it again. At the end, they have a hug montage, which I've now copyrighted and called a hugtage.
Yay!
To show that they do know how to edit a montage together. So everything that we've seen up until now has just been a fuck you.
We know how to do it.
And at the end, they have the hugtage, and they're just like, look, we actually do know how to edit. We've just been way too lazy to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what pissed me off the most.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't stupidity. It was that they knew how to do it.
And Corey, what you were just saying, again, reminded me of Seinfeld, that the way that the hypothetical conversation that Gary David Goldberg had with his writers of like, don't worry, it's like that sort of like mid-season arc for George Costanza where he got fired from the company he was working at. If he didn't show up to work, then he was fired. Or no, they fired him, but he just kept coming in and he crawled through the wall, the ducts of the wall and stuff like that. And Jerry says to him at one point, if only you worked Jesus Christ, if only you worked as hard at working as you do at avoiding work.
That's exactly right. Because you got it, and they can do it this season because they're so popular now. They're huge. The show is so huge, so they can do these cut corner episodes, and people are eating it up.
Are they?
We're not. I like to go. Okay, so before this, guys, while I was working on some stuff, I had this documentary about the '80s on. It's like those docuseries that they've been doing
on CNN.
Yeah, and the first one was all about '80s TV, and they were like going through it. Family Ties only had like a small little part in the series, but I was looking at all the other shows that they were presenting. I was like, oh, I so wish we were watching that show. It was, yeah, they had like a 30-minute part on Cheers. And I was like, I wish we were watching Cheers.
I don't want to pound the same nail every single week.
No.
But Brian Bonsall, he outdid himself in this episode.
There was one part where he didn't even say the words.
Couldn't get him out. But my favorite thing is he's doing some baby thing with his hands.
Yeah.
Like some OCD baby thing. And you see Michael Gross at one point try and lower his hands out of frame. And there they come again, back into frame again, with Brian Bonsall in his hands. And then they slowly get lowered out of frame. And there they are. And then when he couldn't play with his hands, he went back to cunnilingus in one scene again. There's a whole scene with his tongue wagging around out in the wind.
Well, Corey, maybe these are all actors' choices for him. Maybe that's how he views the character of Andy.
That would be assuming that he has any working brain cells. This child is damaged. There's something wrong. I don't understand why they hired someone who doesn't understand the concept, the basic actor concept of listening. Listen when they say something. When they're talking, it's not just waiting for your line. Listen to what they say.
Oh, absolutely.
The more this goes on, the more shocking it is that the number 2 show in the country, they couldn't find any other actor in LA.
They couldn't release immediately when they found out that the kid had zero talent.
Right. It's weird. It's really weird.
Other than the ability to hold a bowl cut. I mean, that's really not a talent. Any child can have a bowl cut.
All right, so the one thing I did like in the opening sequence is they addressed something that we talked about very early on in our show, of Alex ordering for his dates and how rude and unacceptable that was. And it was kind of nice to hear the Keaton ladies, scold him for that.
Yeah. So ultimately, what the interclip stuff that we're seeing, the glue that holds this clip show together, is that the Keatons have returned from dinner where Alex was acting like a boorish pig. And so then they're going to tell him about it. And then they sort of argue. And then Andy falls asleep. And then the credits roll. So that is pretty much the whole episode for an hour.
That's it. Yeah, for an hour. Great television.
It's. I'll tell you. I do look for the silver lining. They gave Jennifer lines in this episode,
and she didn't have to wet nurse Andy, so that was nice.
That was it.
I sort of enjoyed that. There's not much else.
I liked how they acknowledged also that how much of a modern man Nick is. Like when Mallory was talking about that he really is, he's like the only non-sexist man on that show.
You know what? And it's funny because the show itself and the audience think of Nick as the way that, that he's a moron and how ridiculous a concept it is that he's actually pretty progressive with regard to like feminism and stuff like that. But it's honestly true. Once again, they've tripped over themselves and don't realize the gem that they have in their hands.
Did either of you find it at all disturbing? I know that this was shown in one night over an hour episode. Is that true, Paul? It was one night.
True. That's why we had to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I still found it disturbing that we were at the end of the first half hour. We were in the middle of that long ass Dina scene.
Oh God.
With that and with the Nelson girl, I forget what is it, Tracy Nelson? Is that who the actress was?
Yeah. Oh, she's so cute.
And then they fade out on the Dina scene at the end. The way they did this was sort of like the end of the first episode. And then we start the next episode with no explanation right in the middle of the Dina scene.
Where they had the words to be continued.
It's like, you guys couldn't even figure this out, how to do this correctly.
Yeah, they just literally cut the episode and then put it on the DVD.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Everything was so clumsily done in this. The staging was what really stunned me, was that you're really going to seat the entire family around a coffee table and shoot a 4-minute scene with no movement in it. And they're not even talking about anything interesting. It's like, There's no physical comedy. There's no verbal comedy. There's nothing. There's nothing. They're seated.
Can we talk about, just trying to find something, can we talk about what the argument that they're talking about in that first moment? Like, this is what sets the stage for the title of the episode, Battle of the Sexes, is that men are like this and women are like that. But what do they even say about it?
It didn't feel like there was any commentary on that, Paul. Like, it felt like you guys don't, I think Alex says at one point, you guys don't get male bonding. And they flash back to that weekend episode where Alex and Steven were supposed to bond and it didn't happen. And Elise is like, well, women bond over emotional experiences. And then they flash back to when they were at the cabin that weekend. And there's still no commentary. I don't get what the battle is.
I agree with you, Scott. That's why I'm saying this. To me, there's no through line in the show. When you start talking it through, it's like we go from male bonding to female bonding to Nick to Dina to the Jennifer and Scott Handley scene to Elise's commercial. It's like here. We wanted to put this scene in. How shall we link them all together? Call it the Battle of the Sexes, because that's what the show is almost always about. So let's just do that.
Yeah, it has the linear thread of your average AOL chat room in 1998, where it's just conversations just happening all over the place, and you can't follow the thread.
It's so totally haphazard, the show. Done in a slapdash manner that they must have felt so proud of themselves that they pulled the wool over people's eyes 30 years ago, and not knowing that in 30 years we would go on the internet and rip them a new asshole for doing it.
We got your number.
I like that, Family Ties writers.
There was one funny joke that they didn't even realize was funny. I think Jennifer says it, where Alex and Steven want to take Andy up to the mountains or something to go watch, football and boxing and wrestling or something?
Wrestling was their week they had planned, yeah.
And either Jennifer or Mallory is like, ugh, guys are the worst. All you do is want to watch sweaty men roll all over with each other going, yes, 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 or something. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they don't even realize I don't even think it counts as double entendre at that point.
No. And then Paul, you forgot the reply where all the Keaton guys go, yes.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, coming into this episode, I really thought I was going to have to take some diligent notes about, like, the 80s and the mediocrity of discourse about feminism and, like, the reaction of Reagan America, men trying to be like, this rugged masculinity of, like, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger movies type thing. Right. But again, they don't even do that. They can't even do bad correctly.
No, they just hey, writers, pick your favorite clips. Like Corey was saying, pick your favorite clips. We're gonna put under an umbrella that we can show them all. And it was just like, let's have them talk about women versus men. But they, like you said, Paul, they don't even do that.
They go away from it as quickly as they arrive at it. It's like they just touch upon it, and then they totally move on to something else. It's awful. They're shoving a square peg into a round hole. They have a clip show. They've got clips. They think it's just so easy to do it, and then they do it poorly. It's just terrible.
You know what, though? The clips that they pick, I would say about half of the clips are ones from scenes and from episodes that we genuinely enjoyed.
You're right.
There was the one with Mallory and Alex when they're returning from Princeton, and it's that scene on the Amtrak or whatever it was. And
that's really scene. Yeah, it's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
We enjoyed the Nick episode and all the Nick scenes.
Yes. I thought they could have picked a better Nick episode to show off how, like, level-headed he is. They showed him at his worst as opposed to the Nick that we know and love.
Right.
And that was a really long scene. They used the introductory scene, and then they used
everything.
something that was weird was, Corey, you were saying that the part with Dina, that was the ERA episode where Alex pretends to be wanting to pass the ERA amendment in order to show off how feminist he is to this girl that he likes. But they don't show the scene in jail where he says, "I am a woman." I thought that was so weird. They showed like 3 different parts of that particular episode, but not the one where he says, "I am a woman."
That's like the climactic joke of the whole entire episode.
Right. So I thought that was weird.
Yeah. But you're right, Paul. Yeah, it's interesting that they kind of see what they did well and we agree with them, and then they write this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how have you guys been?
Oh, great. How's everything going with you?
Good.
Any plans for Memorial Day?
Yeah, just kind of hanging out with the kids.
I'm about to go to the park with Justin Roller.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
We're going to do cartwheels, I think.
Oh, nice. Please get video of that.
No, I'm kidding.
I know.
It's he and his wife, Heather, and their baby, and their in-laws and friends and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Hey, bud, can you come here? Can you come here? Here.
Hey, Henry.
Oh, I was gonna try to get Henry. I was gonna try to get Henry to sing the Family Ties thing. Yet he still remains elusive.
One day.
One day it'll happen. But yeah, I was thinking about like what it meant to do, like how an audience viewed a clip show back in the 80s. And it's interesting to think, I think we maybe brought this up last time, but like these are clips from episodes that were like a year ago or 2 years ago that they probably haven't seen or haven't been able to see since the premiere of that episode.
Yeah, at this point in time, VCRs, I feel like, were a lot more prevalent than they were during the first clip show that we saw last season or whatever it was. So
True.
At this point, it might have a diminishing return that, like, yeah, people watch these episodes or have taped these episodes or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely a different dynamic where you don't have DVDs of a show. You can't watch it online constantly on a site.
Right.
So being able to watch a clip show is a backdoor way to see old episodes that you've missed just because there was no way to watch it otherwise.
Right. Did your family like use the VCR to tape a lot of shows, Paul?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Lots of movies from HBO.
Okay. We never really did. We had like some, but we never were that like my dad and mom were never technically inclined to like program the VCR to tape something.
Oh, I see.
Corey, were you a big VHS taper?
Big. It was during a period of time. Have I ever confessed to you guys? There was a long period of time that I was obsessed with All My Children.
What? Really?
I think you have mentioned that.
My ex-wife, when right after we moved in together, my ex-wife loved All My Children. And I had a very early VCR. And so we used to tape All My Children 5 days a week. And on Saturday or Sunday, we would sit around and watch 5 hours of All My Children once a week. And for years I did that. I used to have All My Children parties where people would have to come dressed as All My Children character.
Oh my gosh.
You were like doing the Netflix and chill before there was Netflix and chill.
It was more in a tongue-in-cheek way. It's not like I was really emotionally involved, but I was amusingly involved with the history of All My Children.
Now, Corey, aren't soap operas notoriously slow-moving and boring? So how did you not like the new Twin Peaks?
Remember, I taped it and watched it on VCR, so I had a fast-forward button.
Oh, shit.
I mean,
I still have any of those tapes?
No, you know what? I got tapes out in the garage. I probably do have something out there somewhere.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
But I wish I could. That I'll tell you. At the beginning, the first 15 minutes of that of Twin Peaks, I'm looking at Susanna going, "It's been 15 minutes." And we haven't gotten close up on anything. We're still like at this distance, and was so slow, and even the Angelo Badalamenti music didn't do it for me, and nothing. There was nothing about it. And you know what? I think it was a more innocent time. Look, back when Twin Peaks first came on, we honestly, truly, profoundly thought David Lynch would tell us who killed Laura Palmer. We are now so much more sophisticated. We know whatever they threaten to do, they're not going to tell us how you met your mother. They're not going to tell you how you got lost on this island. They're not going to tell you who killed Laura Palmer. They're going to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're also at this time, I think, in TV where so many shows now get by on excessive weirdness that they don't feel the need. I think it started with Lost. Well, Twin Peaks probably the precursor to it, but now, like, there's several shows like the new Twin Peaks, Legion, and American Gods. I watched all those, and it's hard to get invested because the weirdness just hits you so hard at the start that you can't really bond with the characters. Like, I love weird shows, but I like it better when it's like, ease me into this weird world instead of boom, everything's weird now.
I spent 10 minutes with American Gods too. I couldn't get past the first 10 minutes of that thing. That was horrendous to me.
Corey, did you get to the sex scene in the first pilot?
I may have gotten to the sex scene.
With the guy shrinking?
No, I didn't get
to it. You missed the best part of that episode.
I took it off. I can go find it again. I have Stars on Demand. I'll look for it. But
again, I was going to say, you missed the sex scene in Twin Peaks. You get to see that. Did you get to the New York City scene at all?
Gosh, no.
The coffee and yeah. So just go back for those two things, Corey. They're two weird, crazy sex scenes.
have either of you started to watch The Keepers?
Yes,
I haven't even heard of that. What's that?
Oh, it's so good.
It's mind-blowingly good. Mm-hmm. It's a documentary like Making a Murderer. It's a great case, and it's unbelievably fascinating and compelling. And at the end of every episode, they give you just a little kernel of something that makes your mouth drop open.
I hate that shit, because then I'm just like, now it's 5 a.m. and I'm still watching this show.
I'm about 6 of the 8 episodes in. I still have 2 more to go, but it's fascinating.
What's it on?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Okay.
Just to give you a teaser, Paul, Catholic Church, murder, sex ring.
Jesus Christ.
There you go.
That's depressing enough to keep me hooked.
And I think the arc story of all of these women in their 60s who are trying to, they're Nancy Drew, they're trying to solve a case.
Yeah.
It's all these women who were touched by this nun 50 years ago. This nun changed their lives. And now 50 years later, they're trying to find justice for Sister Kathy.
Wow.
Great. Oh,
wait, is this a documentary or a show?
Documentary.
It's a documentary show. Yeah, like it's a 7-part documentary.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. We just finished it 2 nights ago.
Much better than, say, Family Ties clip shows.
Yeah. So listeners, go watch The Keepers. And if you like David Lynch, go watch the new Twin Peaks. Corey and I won't, but Paul endorses it, you know?
And I feel like we've sufficiently branded ourselves that if any one of us, recommends something, if you usually side with Corey, then you're gonna know this.
Yeah.
It's like reading A.O. Scott or reading, Ignatiy Vishnevetsky or whatever his name is.
Right.
Wow. 2 film critics of the New York Times, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, well, the one used to be at the Chicago Tribune, and now he's at AV Club, and the other one's at the Times. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Wow. Have we exhausted everything we need to?
Well, in true Family Ties fashion, I feel like this should be the commercial break.
Right. We'll be right back.
And we're back. So, what else can we talk about, guys?
Yeah, okay. Let's see. What else is going on, huh?
That's why I feel like this season is like the Trump administration, where just when you think it can't get any worse, it gets really, really worse.
Well, at least there are surprises and turns and stuff happening in the Trump administration.
That's true. The Jared thing this week was amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think Jared's going to end up in jail?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like the Dudley Moore Kirk Cameron vehicle, like father, like son.
That would be an awesome movie.
First of all, I don't see any of these people going to jail until 2018 because we need Democrats in the House to serve.
Yeah. What do you think, Paul?
Oh, I just think that, like, other than the president, no one is immune from criminal prosecution.
Right.
So I think anyone can get prosecuted and convicted. So I could see anybody except for Trump going to prison right now.
Yeah.
And that they would do that in order to get them to turn and flip on him.
Right. I think
to be able to impeach him down the line.
Right.
Yeah, I think you spend these 2 years, getting people like Jared and Mike Flynn and everybody, and then you build it up to when you have the votes. Now you have enough to go. You just keep building the case until 2 years where you have the votes.
Yeah.
And pray to God you get those votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, nothing gets accomplished in the entire country.
No.
Which is great. I would rather nothing happen than all of this terrible
right.
shit.
Much better to be on a pause than to keep going in the direction he wants to go in. Now, Paul, you've been posting a song on Facebook.
Your favorite song?
My new favorite song.
Can you tell us about this a little bit?
It's called Sad Eyes. It's from 1979. And it's by Robert John, who is kind of a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
I feel like he was an AM Gold Star type thing. He sounded a little bit like the Bee Gees, like a one-man Bee Gees.
Oh, wow.
And sings really high in his register, falsetto type thing. And it's kind of like a disco Bee Gees AM 70s thing.
Okay.
It's like something that you would listen to at couples skate while skating at the roller rink.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, shit.
First bring it up. Wow.
Hey, you look beautiful today. Come on in. I've got some wine.
Is this an instrumental version? Where's his voice?
This is a long,
I don't know. You just clicked on it. It says Robert John. Here we go.
Here we go.
Looks like it's over. You knew I couldn't stay. She's coming home today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's kind of... All right, stop it. It's kind of like Billy Vera and the Beaters. It has the same sort of, like...
awesome,
sad, mopey guy thing that Billy Vera and the Beaters is good.
Yeah.
It's a good song for Family Ties era, for the right era. What year is the song? Do we know?
79.
Okay, it's just prior to it then.
Yeah. So it's a great song, Sad Eyes by Robert John. I'm like millimeters away from just buying a greatest hits of his, but he didn't really have a lot of hits. So
I was about to say, is there a lot of Robert John hits?
This appears to be on an album called Love to Love. Oh no,
who doesn't?
It's a playlist on Spotify called Love to Love. That's it.
Oh, no. I would so hope that's what he called his album.
Yeah, I know. Love to Love would be great.
It feels like it should be on like one of those compilations, like in the 80s, where it's like, like Love to Love, here are all the hits, and they would like show people like sitting around fireplaces or walking on the beach, and be like, send in $49.99 for the 3-part volume.
Do you think maybe I made cheesy love to someone in 1979 to Robert John's Sad Eyes?
Oh my God! If I were 15 back then, I would have tried to I would have made a mixtape or something, or a mixed vinyl. I don't know. How did you do it back then?
A mixed vinyl.
To some girl in high school, and then she'd be like, "You're weird. Why would you?"
Why would you? It feels like this should have been in the movie Boogie Nights.
That would have been cool.
That would have been a good. Like I could picture a scene where this song would come on.
That movie is so good.
It is so good.
Every time I see it, every time I stop, it's one of those movies I can also watch in segments because it's so storylines that when you flip past, it's like, oh, this is the good scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Oh, this is a good scene with the Mark Wahlberg and Heather Graham.
Yeah.
So,
And that has another quirky song in it that I really love. The Brand New Key or Brand New Roller Skate.
I got a pair of roller skates.
Sure. Melanie. I got brand new roller skates.
Yeah, that's when Roller Girl fucked Dirk Diggler for the first time.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's a great song. I love that song.
It is a great song.
When looking back on it, Burt Reynolds ripped off of an Oscar so badly.
Yeah.
His performance was like towering in that movie.
He is fantastic in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first saw it, I was reading all about it, and I wanted to find out as much as I could about the process and all of the actors and stuff like that. And apparently, Burt Reynolds hated working on it and hated Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I was shocked because his performance was so good that he was having such a miserable time of it.
Why did he hate Paul Thomas Anderson? Was it something about the process that he hated?
I think so. I think that he felt like it was, a little piddly shit movie or something like that.
Beneath him.
Yeah, so it's too bad because it was honestly one of the best things he's ever done.
It's if not the best thing, yeah. I love the scene where they're at the coke dealer's house with the firecrackers.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy and weird, and the long takes.
So tense. That whole scene, you just think someone's getting it. Someone's going to get killed here.
Yeah. You just hear the firecrackers go off and then the song coming on, Sister Christian coming on.
And then the other big song from Boogie Nights, the You've Got the Touch that Dirk Diggler sings.
From Transformers.
From Transformers the movie, which came out in, 85 or 86, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. Other music trivia. The second half is our music trivia segment.
That's right. We talk about lost hits and songs from movies rather than talking about what this show is supposed to be about. Because the writers didn't care and neither do we.
It was funny in this episode, the way that that Steven kept going back and forth of whether he was sexist or not. I thought that was weird. And that's kind of his character in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're told how nice and forward-thinking he is, and then other times he's being a complete dick, as we said earlier this season, that we're never going to look at Steven the same way.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's so weird how Family Ties at moments seems to be so self-aware of itself, and then not. They can't even realize what's going on.
No.
Like, you're right, Paul. That's like a perfect commentary on Steven, and yet they don't acknowledge it. I am looking forward to the My Name is Alex.
Oh, yeah.
I
feel like there will be parts of it that kind of drag a bit, but otherwise, it's a great performance from Michael J. Fox. It got him an Emmy Award. I think it was his first Emmy.
Yeah. I know. Finally, like, after this season, finally having something to look forward to.
I have a fear that I'm going to hate it.
I predict you will not like it as much as Paul and me.
I'm going to find it self-indulgent, aren't I?
You absolutely are.
Yes, you will. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen, actually, this is only from my memory and still photos that I've seen of the upcoming episode.
Okay.
And when I saw it sort of jogged a memory that I thought, oh, this gets very self-indulgent on Alex's part.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling. We'll see. Maybe I'll remain open. I'm not going to prejudge.
Here's what my problem is going to be. I'm predicting what my problem with the episode is going to be. Mm-hmm. Is that when I used to watch that particular episode, because I had it on VHS actually, I had taped it from Nick at Night, and I was watching it after college or something. That the episode, without any context of the season around it, is a great episode of TV. You're just like, oh, this is very interesting and different than normal TV that you would watch, and it is a little bit self-indulgent, but whatever. But based on the fact that we have now watched all 5 seasons in a row, week to week to week, that episode is going to be kind of insufferable.
Mm.
But without any context, it's a great episode.
Right.
So that makes me sad. That's the thing about context. It makes everything more sad.
I think we've also run into the dangers of nostalgia doing this podcast, Paul.
Yeah, that's
the things we love have slowly been crushed.
But you know what, though? This is something that, because like with libertarians, they're constantly trying to divorce context from their political persuasion. And
Right.
Alex B. Keaton is a libertarian, where
Mhm.
it's like, oh, don't worry about history. It's just that freedom is the most important thing. Don't worry about context. But when you learn about context, it's the most important part.
Right. Right.
That's all.
I've run out of words.
This does take me back, guys. The last clip show was actually probably one of our, or at least one of my favorite shows that we recorded. We were all together in the same room. It was the remembering thing. Remember?
I do remember remembering.
You remember remembering? It was.
All I
Yeah.
remember is Henry rejecting me and playing with Paul. That's all I can remember, the pain of that.
I've talked to him about that, Corey. I really have, and he's like, "Yeah, Corey's okay."
Oh,
He's like,
Remind Henry that I have way more of a connection with children than Paul does.
I do. I mean, when Paul came over to our house, Henry gave him the grand tour and showed him all the toys.
all the toys.
Mhm.
And Paul left with Henry saying, "I like you, Paul."
It's pretty nice.
You get the Henry stamp of approval. That's all that matters.
Yep.
Corey,
Now-
the thing that you wrote about me was the funniest thing I've read in months. It was amazing.
It is a great reality show.
It would
Every
be.
week, we're going to bring you to schools, parks, ballet classes, and we're going to have you play with the children and see and put a timer, and we're going to see how long it takes for them to realize it'll go one way or the other. They'll either love you or all of them separate and start to move away from you.
Oh, I love it.
Why am I so divisive for children? I don't know.
I don't get it. Let us know what happens at the park today with Heather and Justin
Yeah.
and Penelope.
Yeah, there are going to be so many kids there, and it's just going to be a mess.
By the way, do we call her Penelope or are they going Penny?
Yeah.
Right now, Penelope.
Penelope?
It is Penelope right now.
Yeah.
That's
But when they have to shout that across a park or something, they're going to get sick
and
of
when
that
a
shit.
3-year-old has to say Penelope. Penelope.
Yeah.
Penelope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Corey,
Name their
he's not
kids supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Just shorten that to soup.
Is that how Soupy Sales got his name?
I don't know.
Mary Poppins ripped off that shit.
Scott, that picture of Maisie and Henry that you posted yesterday, I want to
yeah.
eat Maisie's face.
See, I was going to say, Corey, you still have a shot with Maisie.
I'm telling you, that face of hers, it's the first shot where it's like, oh my God, I want to eat her face up. She's got the chubbiest cheeks.
She's got chubby cheeks and she smiles all the time.
Oh, she's so cute. That is the cutest. I just loved it.
See, I'll tell her that. I'll let her know this, Corey.
Let Maisie know. I'll try working my charms with Maisie because Henry's already called, not me. So.
And really, Maisie's a lot more open than Henry. Henry's very particular.
Oh, is he really? Okay.
He is very particular.
Maybe he likes Twin Peaks.
I'm trying to think. I think when we were watching it, he was playing with his toys and he was coming in and out. He didn't see that. He didn't see the New York scene.
I'm sorry, Scott. Brian, if you're
parenting.
listening now, we're gonna have to cut this out. Listen, Scott, don't let your kid watch Twin Peaks.
He wasn't watching it.
I don't want social services to come by. We're gonna have to cut this out.
No, I think he just saw
Hey,
the
Henry, there's a good rape on Game of Thrones. Come on in here.
And son, now we'll watch Scarface. I think he just caught the thing with the weird arm, the brain arm thing, and he found that fascinating.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but no, nothing else.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, I'll get you in with Maisie, Corey. Don't worry.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Take that ball.
Yeah, hey, it's all right. You can't win them all. So, guys, ultimately, this episode ends with the hugtage, as we talked about.
Uh-huh.
But there was a line right before the hugtage. The line was, "Let's think about how we love each other." It went into the hugtage.
Let's think about it.
Just think about that.
No one in the world has ever said those lines.
No,
No
let's
one has
think
ever
about how much we love each other.
Guys, let's think about how much we love each other and then do it. Then proceed to actually think on it.
And the fact that they somehow did a new remix or a reprise version of the opening theme song.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That they put in effort to do that. They couldn't put in effort anywhere else in this episode.
To make an episode.
And then, do you notice, during the hugtage, it was almost chronological, and all of a sudden you're thinking, "Oh shit, we're getting up to the Andy year. We're getting up to Andy," and then sure enough, there it is, some Andy hugs and kisses.
Corey, I think I know why Henry doesn't like you now.
Because my hatred.
No, yes, I think he's made a connection. He's like, well, he doesn't like that kid. What is he going to think?
It's just Brian Bonsall. It's not children in general. It's Brian.
I will explain it to him. I'll explain it to him.
Can we get Brian Bonsall on the show? He's a hard rocker in Colorado, and he's 35, 36 years old.
That's right. That's true. I don't know. I mean, he might hate the show as much as we apparently do.
I would guess. If
That's true. He might be the only one willing to say, yeah, it sucks.
Much us.
I don't know what that would do to you, Corey, because then you're agreeing with Brian Bonsall.
I'd love to talk to him about it. I'd love to get him to laugh about how bad he is in it.
Yeah. You know what? He might. He might.
I really would, because it's so obviously dreadful. So
Yeah. So Brian Bonsall, if you're listening,
give us a call.
give us a call, tweet, text,
Good. We'll respond.
On that note, Scott.
Yeah. All right. Be sure to
You got this stuff?
launched and threw me off. For questions, information, please be sure to write us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter for updates at QTWFT. Each of us is also on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
And I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is an online conglomerate of geek media, providing its readers with daily content, interviews, and reviews of the geek pop culture spectrum. We also like to thank...
Bryant?
Bryant? I'm sorry. We also like to thank Brian Dillon, Fanbase Press's president, for editing our show. He also works on our graphics. And lastly, wait, I'm going to start this over again. Jesus
That's
Christ.
fine. That's fine.
Sorry.
You're good.
I'm good. All right. Because I forgot, I stumbled over our theme song.
Oh, Perry.
Perry, for some reason. I don't know why Perry escaped me. All right. Brian, we're going to start over again. All right, that wraps it up for us. For questions and information, be sure to write us at qualitytimewithfamilytimes@gmail.com. We can also give you updates on our Twitter feed at QTWFT. Each of us is also on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
And I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is an online conglomerate of geek media, providing its readers with daily insights and reviews into the geek pop culture spectrum. Be sure to check out everything that they do. We'd like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the Family Ties theme song Without Us. Check out Perry's music at perryadams.com. We'd like to thank Brian Dillon, Fanbase Press's president, for editing our show. We also like to thank Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, for designing our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Shalom.
Bye.